you open the door?
What do you want?
You're in trouble.
What?
Would you just open the door? I am telling you that there is someone in there with you. Why do you want it?
He took my sister's life. I want to see what was going through his mind.
Oddity. Okay, so I heard about this movie from Twitter, as I get a lot of news from, which is either great or sad, but I'm just going to move on. But I heard about this movie, and I knew a lot of people were talking about it and saying that it was really good. And I have a friend of mine that saw this director's previous film, which was KVAT, I think is what it was called. It looked like a claymation bunny. And they really enjoyed that. And they said that they were looking forward to this. And so I'm like, okay, like maybe I'll check this one out. And the more I was seeing, like, you know, people commenting on Twitter about it and them saying like, oh my God, it's a great film. It's like one of the best films of the year. It piqued my interest a little more. And then I watched it. And while I don't think it was one of the best films of the year, it was definitely a really good film. I did enjoy it. Now, the film is about a woman who is blind, and she is a palm reader. Like, she dives into like the dark arts. Well, her sister was just recently murdered, and she goes to the house and tries to figure out how it all happened, because people don't know how it happened, while something else is lurking underneath, and stuff happens. What I enjoyed most about the film is that it felt like a murder mystery film with a supernatural tint to it. So I think if you like those kind of like murder mysteries, like slowly plotting kind of films, but then throw in like supernatural ghostly stuff, I think you get a kick out of this one. What I enjoyed, I really enjoyed, the film is, it's all like, it's solving a murder. I love watching like murder mysteries. I even like watching those like ID channel or Oxygen type like true crime shows for many reasons, but they're entertaining. I find them really interesting, and this one is actually really good. Like the way that they plot up the mystery of this murder, and it keeps you thinking until the third act, when everything kind of just like everything happens. And it then goes from like a murder mystery into almost like a revenge film. And it's like, oh, I kind of liked that. And it was a cool like little switcheroo there. And most of the film is actually in one location. It's in one location. So it doesn't feel much like a bottle film like a lot of other films do, like almost like 1408, where pretty much the entirety of that movie is in one hotel room, and they're just saying, hey, let's just go crazy. This one is, hey, we're in this one location. Let's be crazy, but let's be slow. Let's be slowly crazy and slowly plotting. So it is a little slow, but it works to its advantage, because a lot of those murder mystery films, they are kind of slow. But this one, it works to its favor, because if it's very fast paced, by the time the mystery is solved, you're like, that's it. I solved that in like an hour, instead of it being like an hour and a half. You're like, oh, okay, I actually like this more. And it was very resourceful. The fact that it was primarily in like one, and even I would say just two locations. there are some jump scares in here, but they actually do play with your expectations. So, like, you expect something to happen, and then it's like not going to happen, and then not going to happen. It's very much one of those films where they set up certain things, and then you expect a jump scare to just happen right then and there. But then they say, no, nothing is going to happen. You can trust us. And then your guard slowly gets down, and then that's when they hit you. It really works here, and I quite enjoyed that. Now, like I said, it is a little slow paced, but to me, it actually worked to its benefit. It's not a cut and dry movie. It's not an A plus B equals C movie. Personally, I had no issues with that, but I say that you will have some questions towards the end of the film. And if you do have questions at the end of the film, the film it's definitely one of those, like, if you watch it the second time, you may understand certain things a little bit better, and your opinion can change and be like, oh, this is way better than as the first time I saw it, which happens a lot with films. That's part of the fun of it. I do know that a lot of people don't like that. They like things spelled out for them. But I like how this film doesn't do that. And also the acting, I thought was really good. And because even like your main character who is blind, you're kind of like, okay, this is your main character, but at the same time, there's like little aspects where you're just like, wait, okay, who are you really? Like, questions start rising up about this person that makes you kind of feel on edge, where you're just like, okay, I understand they're trying to solve this mystery of their sister's murder, but what are you doing? Like, kind of like questioning, not questioning it in a bad way, but more of just kind of like on edge questioning, kind of like, hey, what are you doing? Like, why are you bringing this aspect into it? Like, who are you really? Kind of like, I understand you're going through this, but what is this? So, and that's the supernatural stuff being brought into it, and it's really effective in what they do. And you are kind of on edge because you're just like, I don't know who's like really the villain here. And that's part of what made it so interesting to me. And so I think it was a high average for a bit throughout it until the third act hit, and I was like, all right, you bumped it up. You got it up for me, because that was really well executed. I really liked how this wrapped up. You're not really going to smile at the end of it, because it is kind of like a, oh, well, that sucks kind of thing. But I thought it was a very cool, interesting, and intriguing movie. And, despite it being an hour and a half and it being a little slow, it was still very interesting throughout. And especially, for it being an hour and a half, you kind of expect it to breeze through. And also at times, because it's kind of short, you don't expect a whole lot of things to be spelled out for you. So stuff that is missing, you're kind of like, well, I feel like if they had a little bit more time, they could have done this, like they could have added this. This one, it honestly feels like a good, like, runtime. Now, I give it a low grade. Now, as much as I've been seeing its praise, I didn't like it as much as, like, the internet says, but that seems to be the case. Like, with Longlegs and with Alien Romulus, the internet was just like, this is the best film ever. And I watched them like, no, it's not. They're good. They're really good, but I don't think they're the best films ever. So, but, I still enjoyed this, and I think if you want like a murder mystery film with a supernatural tint to it that is very cool, intriguing, and really, really interesting throughout its runtime, then I think check this one out. And I think you shouldn't really sleep on this one. So definitely check it out.
This is not real.
As I've always believed, there's nothing that can't be explained.